Turn us on. Wow, look at that. Holy
Now there's the power of the selectmen at work.
Wow.
And in high def.
So I didn't like that.
Well, good evening, everyone. It is Thursday, October 24th, 2019, and this is the Board of Selectmen meeting. First up, we have a public hearing on the petition of National Grid to relocate one jointly owned pole on North Road beginning at a point approximately 2,000 feet at the center line of the intersection of Green Road and installing one 40C2 pole. Laura Napolitano.
That's me.
How are you?
Good, how y'all doing?
Very well,
Come
thank
up
you.
there. Do I have to come up? Okay.
Please.
Never know exactly what to do with y'all.
No one does.
So we have new construction for new resident at 110 North Road.
Okay.
And we need this pole here for a transformer that we're going to be putting on this pole for these people.
Okay.
And you read the rest.
Yep.
Can you tell me about jointly owned poles?
Yeah, so we have obviously we're on the poles, and then other utilities are on the poles,
Okay.
the communications, phone, all that kind of stuff. We took over main ownership of the pole, so we install all the new poles, and then if one needs to be removed, then Verizon removes them. That's what that means.
Okay. Mark, anything from you? Everything?
No, everything's
okay?
fine. This pole's going into an existing pole line, so it doesn't impact any trees or anything like that. It just, like you mentioned, it needs to support some hardware and.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm fine.
Yeah, almost that.
Okay.
So I move we approve the National Grid petition to relocate one jointly owned pole on North Road, approximately 2,000 feet from the center line of the intersection of Green Road.
Yep. Before we second that, any comments from the public?
I'm the future resident of North Road, and I'm looking forward to my new pole.
And you heartily endorse. Okay. All right, then I'll take a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Well, welcome to Bolton.
Thank you.
Whenever you get there.
Hopefully soon. We have our
they're already-
modules for a modular house delivered today, so.
Yeah,
Great.
the walls are up already.
Yeah,
Great.
it's very cool. Thank you, guys.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a good one.
You can stay around if you want to make your drive here worth watching.
I just drove 5 minutes down the road, so
Oh, okay.
I will go home and go lay down on the couch.
Very good.
Good plan.
Have a good night.
Alrighty, next up is a discussion of the H.3976 file, which would require notification to the community or a local elected official when there is a release of sewage into our rivers.
And you have a copy of House
Yeah.
3976 in your packets. It is pretty much as it is described there.
Yep.
Really, the folks are just trying to find as much support as possible for the bill.
So it's spill and discharges.
Of sewage.
Works for me. It's always good to someone let you know when it's always happening.
Conservation Commission weighed in on this?
Yes, Conservation Commission is definitely supportive of it.
Okay.
Great.
So I move that we support sewage spill notification State House Bill 3976.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay.
Good night, Mark.
Good night, Mark. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Okay. You're up.
Okay, on the town administrator's report, first update on Portico, done.
Wow. Okay.
It's completely done.
It's done. Punch list is done,
All the paint drippings are.
paint's done.
Great.
Paint's done.
Wow. Never thought I would do this work.
Didn't last quite as long as the Minuteman, but it fought like an animal while it was on there.
Well, it was only slightly smaller in scale than that.
Update on the Mass Works, and it did come out, in all seriousness, it did come out very nicely. Since we are where we are in the season, we'll be dealing with the regrading and all, I believe, in the spring.
Sure.
And then we'll be looking at the much nicer plantings out there at that point, once we're able to redirect the water.
Okay, good.
Update on the Mass Works project, not done. By the end of this week, which is tomorrow, excuse me, 99% of the curbing will be complete, and the only remaining curbing will be at utility pole locations. Soil borings will be complete, the mast arm foundation design is complete, and we'll be awaiting final foundation evaluation under the LSP's environmental safety plan. Also, areas between roadway saw cut and new curbing will be 100% paved by then.
By tomorrow?
Yes, areas between the roadway saw cut and the new curbing, yeah.
Okay.
Water Aquatic Hill Road, gravel box under new sidewalk, 80% complete, remaining 20% is fine grading and compaction when sidewalk contractor arrives. Localized area where existing stone wall needs to be supported, all areas safe and passable by foot traffic. By the end of next week, excuse me, curbing 100% complete, remaining curb only at utility pole locations. Sidewalk contractor will begin sidewalk work. Existing driveways will be left in place. It's a 2-week process. Approximately 50% of the work will be complete by the end of next week, and the remaining 50% at the end of the following week. So in approximately 2 weeks, the sidewalk should be done.
Great.
And all conduit crossings beneath the roadway will be complete, which is a big deal, obviously. And then on Water Aquatic Hill Road, curbing will begin and will be complete by the end of next week. And sidewalk work may or may not start. We don't know for sure yet about that.
Okay.
You may not have the answer for this tonight, but one of the most noticeable benefits to this project is going to be a place to put mailboxes. And my question is, will people be able to put their mailboxes in that strip between the road and the sidewalk before the ground freezes? Or is that going to have to wait until spring?
You mean in the grassy soft strip?
The thing that will become a grassy soft
Yeah, the
strip.
thing that will become a grassy strip. I don't know why they couldn't. I haven't specifically discussed that with Joe, but I don't know why they couldn't.
I would worry about the grading, if they do it before the grass is planted, or putting it in and disturbing the seed once it's there, or is the grass not going to be put down until the spring and all that other convoluted stuff?
It's a little late in the season to be putting grass, the seed down at this point. Jonathan, when you think it's a little late in the season to put the seed down?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be great to set the posts in the dense grade that they're compacting, like 2 to 3 feet down, if people are gonna be doing that. So that'd be good to talk to Joe about getting the posts in. And they would probably do the loam and the seed in the spring.
Yeah, that I agree. That's what I would assume, but I'll speak to Joe about it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to do the finish work and then have people.
Right.
Digging it up
Right.
again with post hole.
Right.
That's right.
That would be good if it's coordinated.
So as you've seen in your packets, we received an announcement from Mass DEP Recycling Dividends Program fund in the amount of, we've received in the amount of $4,550. Goes to show that, the good work that's being done on recycling.
That's annual. That's an annual.
It is annual, yes.
Is that at one time or is that going to be annual?
Well, there's an award annually. It'll vary.
Okay.
And while I'm talking about DEP, I was at board under the oversight committee for the Regional Hazardous Waste Collection Center at Devon's met today, and as part of the update that we received, we were told that the Devon's Regional Hazardous Household Waste Facility was on a list of successful regional initiatives that Mass DEP presented at a statewide regional meeting for your municipal managers and elected officials on October 8th. And in fact was cited as one of the most successful of its type in the state. So, you know, we've got good things happening up there, and it's good to be able to advertise that.
That's great.
Next, recommendation on bulk waste fees at the transfer station. You received an update via email, and you also have it, I believe, in your packets. This is a result of multiple discussions I've had with Joe, and I poked around with some colleagues, and it seemed to me that of the different towns that I spoke with, Harvard was very much like us, and the approach that they have for sort of middle ground with fees, you know, between a trunk full and a pickup truck full was what we came forward with, well, it's an offshoot of what we came forward with. We thought $70 as a middle ground between the two. So that would be fair. And we did it this way so that we don't have the attendants down there having to determine what a fee is for any given thing that comes in. It either fits one of these now 3 criteria. And also adopting the procedure that they follow in Harvard, which is if somebody disagrees that they don't have enough to warrant $70, that the attendant would say, well, that's fine, you'll need to come back next week during the day and speak with the DPW director, but I can't accept what you've got. So then they have the option of deciding to pay it and leave the material or take it with them and then come back and meet with the manager.
Yeah.
But it doesn't put the help in, our help in the middle of a dispute with a resident, because that's what we want to avoid at all costs.
Makes sense.
So that's the recommendation that Joe and I came up with, and we actually have, since it would modify our rules and regs, I've got wording in here somewhere. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. So the chair would seek the motion as it's written in the packet.
I'm fine with the changes.
Me too.
All right, so I'll make the motion that in accordance with Chapter 218, the Bolton Board of Selectmen amend, is that paragraph 218-1?
Section
218-1 of the transfer station regulations by striking $30 truckload of bulky waste, $100 pickup truckload of bulk waste items, and inserting in its place up to a trunk load, $30, between a trunk load and 3/4 pickup truck load, $70, and a pickup truck load, $100. Said fees to become effective January 1st, 2020.
So moved, and second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Okay.
Thank you. Just a reminder that the Parks and Rec Annual Halloween Parade is on October 26th at 2 p.m. beginning at the Town Common. And last Tuesday evening, there was a very well done ceremony at the Public Safety Building for 5 new officers in the fire department. As you see here, there were firefighters Steve Coaches, Matt Bossele, and Doug Heffel to fire lieutenant. We also had Peter Casella promoted to captain, and David Farrell promoted to deputy chief. Very nice. The chief did a wonderful job. He had a formal program that we worked from. The firefighters' families were there. Their spouses or children put their, pinned them and put the lapel pins on. Very nice turnout from the fire department, very nice turnout from the police department. The training room was pretty much full. And it was nice to see that spirit and camaraderie and the really positive attitude that the firefighters had, and everybody had, really. It was a very nice event. So I congratulate all of them. One thing that is not on here that this is an FYI, Jenny may or may not have been able to get an email out to you yet, and this is not going to be a new perpetual item under my report. But the 3 town administrators did speak with the superintendent of schools, and the superintendent has volunteered to host the next Tri-Town. And that would be mid-November. She already said November 6th through 8th doesn't work, and November 20th doesn't work, and since Tri-Town is always on a Wednesday, one would logically assume that then it would become November 13th. So stay tuned, but I think that's what we're shooting for, is November 13th. And she also noted that we're trying to work out a regular or a predictable schedule, and to that end, the proposal is that Lancaster would host in January, Bolton would host in March, and Stowe would host in May. So we're actually trying to plan forward for a few years once we have the first one.
Wow.
And she has promised tasty treats baked by the cafeteria director to apparently entice us to be there. So once we've got the date nailed down, then there'll be a request for agenda items to go out.
Okay,
Very good.
okay,
And I believe at this point, that's all I have this evening.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to remind you, for the H3976.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Jenny forgot to remind me that under the House bill, there is a way that we can submit it online. Jenny can plug in the names of the selectmen and do it online, so you don't have to sign anything, but that really should come as a vote from the board that you authorize or delegate Jenny to go off and do that.
I so delegate.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
All right, now that's all I have, unless you have further things that I've forgotten to do. No, okay, thank you.
No, thank you. Next up is Board of Selectmen business. Any public service announcements?
No thanks.
No, not right now.
Okay, all right. We will skip that for a moment. Next up is the appointment of Greg Kavanishnik to the Parks and Recreation Commission. I'm assuming this was advertised?
Yes, it has been.
Okay.
Okay, so I move that we appoint Greg Cabanches to the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next up, anything?
No, well, Stan has already signed the warrants, but if they're available on Jenny's counter for viewing, if anybody would like to see them.
Okay, all right. Next, we'll approve the bills and payroll warrants for W20-09 and W20-09A.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any minutes today?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask Dan a question? I missed, in addition to the fire lieutenants, you said Peter Casella was promoted to captain, and who was promoted to deputy chief? Farrell?
David Farrell.
Okay. I'm with it.
So I move that the selectmen approve the minutes from the regular session of July 11th and the executive session of July 11th, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. And while we are doing our John Hancock's on the thing, next up, we will have 2 executive sessions. The first executive session is pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining for the fire union, as the chair finds that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the board's bargaining position. And we will not be coming out into open session, and I'll be immediately going back into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, 21A, Section 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation, a grievance filed by the AFS-CME Council Number 93, DPW Unit. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the Board of Selectmen, and the chair so declares, the board will not reconvene back into open session.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Roll call. Sikansky,
Aye.
Keith,
Aye.
Waisaki.
Aye. Good night, everyone.